On your marks, get set.
Paiges Butterfly Run got started with absolutely no thought from Ellen and myself. It was brought to us by two teachers at Palmer Elementary. Pat Rezegi and Beth Putnam came to Ellen and me and said, would it be okay, do we have your permission, if we do something in her memory? We were certainly blown away by the generosity of that thought and that emotion. And we said, certainly, of course, thank you. What do you have in mind? And Pat, who is a runner, why don't we have a walk? We'll just invite the kids from the school, their siblings, their parents. We'll just keep it within the school family. And if we raise any money, you know, you two can decide what to do with it. We put it together and raised $2,200. And Ellen and I took it up to Paige's oncologist and said, please use this in Paige's memory. And that's how Paiges Butterfly Run got started. About as grassroots as it possibly could be, and not our idea. But we liked it. We liked it a lot. And it felt good to remember her in this way, have her be remembered in this way. The events leading up to Paige's diagnosis of leukemia were seemingly innocent. Ellen took her to Dr. Hunter, her pediatrician in Liverpool, and he happened to, he was checking her out. He palpitated her abdomen, and which one doesn't normally do, but he felt it enlarged. So he felt that, and he said, well, we're going to do a blood test. Did a blood test, and the next day, the results came back, and he sent Ellen and Paige to University Hospital. I was in Rochester with an appointment with Xerox, and I got called and picked up the call, and it was Ellen. She was telling me that Paige had been diagnosed with leukemia and that I should come back to Syracuse, which of course I did immediately. That was a very tough car ride from Rochester to Syracuse. There were a few things you could do. You could take a pill that would hide the symptoms for a while until it wouldn't, and then you'd go into blast crisis and you'd die. Or the other end of the bookends were go to a bone marrow transplant immediately. And a bone marrow transplant is a pretty rough go. There was one donor, unrelated donor, in the entire national donor base at the time. The donor base was 1 million people, one donor. It was, quote unquote, a perfect 6 out of 6 match at the time. So we went to Boston Children's and Dana-Farber, they're kind of joined together, and went through the process. A high dose radiation, full body radiation, high dose chemo. So basically she was in a state of having no immune system. At that point you get the marrow and watch and wait. Good news, bad news with Paige. The good news was it set up shop, started producing cells. The bad news was it was not a good match, actually. Something was off, and the graft versus host disease ended up killing her. Her new immune system attacked her gut, and she couldn't live. She was diagnosed in May of '93, passed away in August of 1994 at the age of 8. She turned 8 in the hospital in Boston.
So I started participating in Paiges Butterfly Run in 2007 because someone I loved was fighting pediatric cancer. So I continued doing the run in his honor. And I remember one of the first years that I did it, when it had moved downtown. And the thing that sticks out most to me, which I think is a great thing about Chris, is that every year at Paiges Butterfly Run, he is at the start-finish line. He's there, you know, waving to people that he knows. He's there cheering people on. He recognizes so many of our participants, and they've come to recognize him through what he and Ellen have founded in Paige's honor. I remember that year, I crossed the start line, and I was over to kind of the right where he stands, and he saw me and he gave me a little wave. I gave him a little wave back, and I was just so touched that, one, he found me in a crowd of about 2,000 people. Two, he waved to me, and that was kind of all I needed to feel important that day, to feel like my registration fee, my fundraising mattered, and that my participation mattered. And I think that's the feeling that Chris gives so many of the people that he comes in contact with. He appreciates every single person who is there. He makes them feel so special and so appreciated. He's someone who cares a lot about how Paige's spirit lives on, but also how people are impacting kids who are being treated now and who will be treated in the future.
Butterfly. Where did the butterfly come from for Paiges Butterfly Run? Paige, in her second grade year, they had a section on butterflies, and it just fascinated her. She loved it. So we thought of that. But also, monarch butterfly is a beautiful creature. It looks extremely fragile and pretty and beautiful and all that, but it's also extremely strong and resilient. And that was Paige to us. She was this pretty, fragile looking young girl, but extremely resilient and strong in her own ways, for sure.
He's really a shining example of a parent who took something so devastating and turned it into something that has been such a positive thing for so many families. What I've come across and seen from families that I've talked to is that they're incredibly grateful for what Chris and Ellen started, because without them, families may not have been able to get that financial assistance that was so desperately needed when their child was going through treatment. There might not have been a place where they could come and honor and remember their own children through Paiges Butterfly Run. What he means to the community is something so great and so positive that they're able to take their own experience and celebrate it while also celebrating Paige, not just on the day of the run, but year-round.
Paige was a person who cared a great deal about helping other people. Her teacher shared with us a story where something good happened in Paige's life, and in that particular class day, it happened to be another classmate's birthday, and the teacher asked her privately if she wanted to share her news, and she said, no, it's so-and-so's birthday. I don't want to do that now. So that was Paige. I mean, she was always looking out for other people. She was kind, a leader in that quiet way, and really nice. Paige taught me how to die. Paige was a trooper. She really did everything she could, was not a complainer. She knew things were difficult, but she made the best of each situation, it seemed. She was quite a person.